Here's a riddle. How am I like Batman? We're both dummies.
These videos are not for children. If you're a children, then piss off.
Hey there, it's me, your least favorite YouTuber, the Infuso. And today, I'm here to talk about my all-time favorite Batman show, Batman the Animated Series. But furthermore, I'm actually here to talk about the show's Lost episode. I say that with quotations because it really isn't, but it also kinda is. Let me explain. Batman the Animated Series, while being one of the most iconic outings for The Dark Knight, is also tied into a whole universe of continuity. This includes several animated series, movies, and even video games. And the Batman video games attached to the series usually had their own original stories. But one Batman game in particular went above and beyond to make their game have the true BTAS experience. So they conveyed their narrative with the actual animation you would see in the show. However, unlike Gotham City Racer, which is a travesty I will one day be forced to talk about, this game didn't just reuse, recycle, and repurpose already made animation for the show that it's based on. It instead hired the same animation studio that worked on Batman the Animated Series, and the same voice actors from the show as well. Because of this, these scenes seamlessly capture the magic of the show, and create an experience that feels not only reminiscent of the source material, but identical to it. Since not much narrative is conveyed within the actual gameplay of the game, no, seriously, it's really just traveling from one place to the next. That's it. That's the game. I mean, don't get me wrong, the visuals are really nice here, but that's really all there is to it. You're just driving around. And then when you finally get to the finish line, you're rewarded with some surprisingly well-made cutscenes for a Sega CD game. That is the entire game experience. Anyway, since the game itself isn't integral to the story that it's telling, you could completely strip this of its gameplay and missions, and nothing is truly lost. What's being taken away is inconsequential because the scenes alone tell the story. And that story is almost the exact amount of runtime of an actual Batman the Animated Series episode. So that's why a lot of people refer to this as the Lost episode. Although I don't know that it's necessarily lost, it's more so forgotten. It's just more so forgotten. It's not often talked about, so it's kind of like this uncredited, unrecognized episode of BTAS. And you may now be thinking, V, is this 17-minute adventure really worth talking about? You bet your badass it is. And that's why today, that's what I'm gonna do. This game offers up some of the strangest visuals in old Batman the Animated Series lore. There are things here that you won't believe you've seen. But just remember, you can never unsee them once they have been seen. The episode, again, in quotations, starts with Ivy spawning a plant monster who low-key just kind of looks like Clayface going through a vegan phase. And its birth is followed up with Batman bludgeoning it to death. Hey, you guys remember Batman's no-killing rule? Because Batman didn't. I mean, sure, this thing's not human, but I also don't think that's a good enough reason to execute him. I know a lot of people will say that this rule only applies to people, but why? Batman is one of the most compassionate heroes who takes the value of life seriously. I mean, it's not going to stop Batman from putting you in a full body cast for the rest of your life, but, you know, the guy cares about the value of life, not necessarily the quality of it. Batman is sworn to not play judge, jury, and executioner, so why would that rule only extend to humanity? I don't think Batman is the type of man to hold some sort of species superiority complex. I mean, he doesn't even know what species he is. Is he bat or man? I don't know. In all seriousness, it does seem like a strange choice given the fact that Batman lives in a world where there are all forms of equally intelligent life. Him drawing the line at human kind of makes him look like a little bit of a dick. And make no mistake, Batman definitely kills him. This isn't some killing joke left up to interpretation type shit. Batman blatantly brutalizes him. Without question. Like, damn, Bruce, you resorted to that kind of quickly. Were you just waiting for the loophole? I don't know. It seemed like you could have gone a different route. There might have been other options. You didn't even stop to think of them. You went straight to death. When he finally catches up to Ivy, he learns that she's not working alone. Her mysterious partner has kidnapped both Robin and Commissioner Gordon in the time that it took Batman to catch her. Which I gotta say is very un-Ivy-like. I don't know that she's keen on working with others. She has a soft spot for Harley, sure, but outside of that, I don't think that she'd humor team-ups. Also, Ivy isn't typically chaotic evil. She does what she does to protect plans. She wouldn't go out of her way to bother Batman. He'd only factor into her plans if she had a greater scheme that he was trying to stop. Killing Batman isn't going to feed her Venus flytrap, and no, that was not a euphemism. Anyway, being that Batman is the world's greatest detective, he immediately deduces that the man in question is none other than the man with questions, the Riddler. Batman seeks out the Riddler, finding the missing Commissioner Gordon. Of course, the Riddler in response asks Batman a riddle, but rather than humor him or give him a well-thought-out retort, Batman decides to just bust his knuckles against the Riddler's face. The real Riddler then reveals himself, only to trick Batman into going into his virtual reality, so that the next level could give the game some of its most fun visuals yet. But Batman defies the power of the Oculus and breaks free, putting a stop to Enigma and saving Jim, who reveals to Batman that the Joker has taken Robin to an old abandoned amusement park, which does feel a little bit reminiscent to The Killing Joke, but also serves as a reference to the Season 1 episode, Be a Clown. When Batman arrives at the discount Six Flags, he only finds Harley, who dares the Caped Crusader to chase after her. The Joker finally greets you, making one hell of an entrance. He's got spotlights and all because if this man is nothing else, he is a showman. It's here that the Joker recreates the Mad Bomber episode of The Grey Ghost, using plush toys in itty-bitty little bumper cars, packed with not-so-itty-bitty explosions. After Batman passes the Joker's challenge, he saves Robin, who's tied up in a chicken suit. And do you see? You see what I'm talking about here? Do you see now why I needed to alert the public to this? Look at this imagery. Where else are you gonna see Robin tied up in a bird outfit? Canonically speaking, that is. I'm not talking about some deviance art that they post on DeviantArt. But even upon stopping the Joker, they realize that the plot, like myself, thickens. And this ploy goes much deeper than that. Someone is using all of these villains to serve some greater scheme. Wait a sec, is this Hush? Is this Batman the Animated Series Hush? Because I'm starting to feel like it is. Joker clues them in and lets them know that it's been mob boss Rupert Thorne who has orchestrated this whole plan. Which, if you're playing this game as a kid, probably felt a little bit disappointing. I mean, here you have all these fun, interesting, colorful villains to fight, only to find out that the big bad is just some big bad in a suit. If Batman chopping down a living being and Robin dressed as the gobbledygooker wasn't strange enough for you, this game then provides you Rupert Thorne slamming his fist through glass, and then completing a scene with shards in his fingertips. Leonardo DiCaprio, eat your heart out. This is just a little bit strange, isn't it? It feels like a little bit too hardcore for the demographic here. I don't even think they'd be able to get away with this in the show. But in a video game, probably directed at a slightly younger audience than the show itself, that's acceptable. Batman and Robin, of course, inevitably track Thorne down only to find that this is in fact not Rupert Thorne, but Clayface masquerading around as Rupert Thorne. And again I ask, is this Hush? Am I playing Hush? Is this Batman the Animated Series Hush the video game? Before Batman Hush the comic book was ever written? A fight ensues, but honestly, Batman puts a stop to Ron Perlman pretty fast, freezing him for a time being before he somehow slips through the pipes. I didn't know he could do that. He slips through the pipes and heads out the front where he grabs a gun and starts raining bullets down on the dynamic duo. And Batman, in turn, shoots back. What the f***? Okay, let me get this straight. This Batman cut down Groot like he was George Washington, about to create an eternal myth. And now he's just out here capping people who were deformed in accidents? See, this is why Batman should have an overall no-kill rule, because it becomes a very slippery slope. You start to ask where you draw the line. Why did Batman just pick up a gun? The no-gun thing was already established at the time. He's mentioned it several times in the Batman the Animated Series lore. I don't remember a whole lot of Batman the Animated Series episodes ending with a gunshot and a fade to black. Anyway, Clayface turns into a tire, which is a sentence that, at this point I'm immune to. Although, seriously, I don't remember Clayface having ditto rules. I thought he could only transform into people. Multiple people, I know that, but I don't remember off the top of my head him just turning into shapes and objects. So anyway, he uses his amazing powers to hijack a plane as himself. This way the game can have a final battle that takes place in the air. A battle which ultimately ends with Clayface's helicopter crashing and burning above a bridge, as we watch Clayface disintegrate in the river beneath it. Jesus, that is unnecessarily brutal. This was made for children? I mean, I'm not complaining about it. I'm in awe of it. All in all, after watching all of this, I just gotta ask, what was anyone's game? Why was everyone working for Clayface disguised as Rupert Thorne? The fuck if I know. But that's the game. And that is the allegedly lost episode of Batman the Animated Series. There are a couple glaring issues here that definitely separate this from maybe not the continuity of the show, but the quality of it. The music and animation is pretty compressed and pixelated. The actual audio at times seems confused. Sometimes it plays a background track too low. Other times it just has several background tracks overlaid, so you really don't know what it is you're listening to or what they were trying to get across. The plot only exists to shoehorn villains into the game to give the player something to do and someone to, well, not even fight, but drive to a fight with said villain. The music used doesn't always seem like it fits. Sometimes it's obviously cut and trimmed in random places that don't make a whole lot of sense. But again, considering that this is all just connecting segments in a driving game for the Sega, I think those can be easily overlooked, and the product deserves to be appreciated. I think it's definitely one of the most bizarre additions to this Batman story, and I don't think its take on some of the characters is absolutely ideal. Some of the characters' actions feel off and contradictory to their actual characterization, which is strange given all the talent from the original series that returned to make this game. Ultimately, it was a great choice to bring back all of the cast and use an animation studio that was already familiar with the product. This makes the whole experience feel legitimate and, more importantly, really fun. I doubt that a whole lot of you are going to look to seek this out for your own Sega collection, but if you're interested in checking out the cutscenes, they're available here on the platform, so have at it. With all that being said, if you like this video and would like to see me talk about another one of the Batman games tied into this very animated series, let me know in the comment section below by leaving a comment saying,
Faster than you can say that, cackle pop.
I was your least favorite YouTuber, Infuso, and I thank you for watching. Hope to see you in the next one.
I am vengeance. I am the night, and that was Infuso. Just remember, if you're not tuning in, then you're missing out.
So, if you like the words that came out of his mouth hole, and you too would like to become a V-generate, don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching, nerds!
And if you're not joining the fun, you're in for one bad day. And you know what they say about having one bad day?
Catch him next time. Same bat time. Same bat channel.